So what advices are you going to give Carlos right now?
Get out while you can.
Derek Lunsford, obviously we're similar in height. We have, certain shots I think will match up very well together. But I think there's a lot of shots that I can take from him.
You win shots. That's why I have you in third. You have the chance to beat Derek, and a lot of people think that I am insane for that.
Hey guys, welcome back to Project Bodybuilding. One of the biggest disappointments to come out of the 2025 bodybuilding season, at least so far, has been Carlos Thomas Jr. In a matter of a month, the community went from hyping him up to do extremely well at the Arnold Classic to now Sean Ray telling him to retire. But what happened or what didn't happen to make Carlos such a flop? Well, today we will be revisiting my progress report series, where we compare different versions of an athlete to see where they've improved, stayed the same, or even gotten worse. Carlos took over a year off between the versions we will be comparing today. We'll be using his pro debut from the 2023 Texas Pro and comparing it to his latest outing at last weekend's 2025 Detroit Pro. Let's find out what happened to completely derail Carlos's trajectory. Remember, if you guys like these types of videos, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe for more. So not only will this be a short video, but because it's a short video, I'm going to break out the face cam. I gotta be honest, this is not a positive progress report. Now, going into this comparison, we are using the 2025 Detroit Pro. If you know anything about the Detroit Pro, their lighting, backdrop, everything, production, top notch. Texas 2023 wasn't that bad. You can certainly do a lot worse in today's era, but Detroit will have that advantage going forward. But with that better lighting, it really just exposes and puts into perspective how little actual progress was made. Take this pose for instance. The legs in Detroit 2025 look a bit watery than 2023, maybe a bit bigger, but I'll take the better conditioned legs from 23. And then the lats and the arms, I think he was actually fuller in Texas. So you get a slightly flatter, slightly more watery look, and pretty much zero size improvements in 2025. So all in all, I don't see how this is positive at all. I think 2023 was legitimately better. Now, we are splitting hairs to reach that conclusion. I mean, he took 1.5 years off. And he's not even that old either. There should be some pretty major improvements here. But, he's already very good in the front double. Maybe he just didn't want to improve shots that are already so good. Maybe he wanted to balance out his physique. So let's move on. So we're looking at a strong pose. Again, this is the side tri... Let's take a look at another strong pose first before we get to his weakest shots. So here we have the side chest, and yet again, does anything really change? I mean, I guess they're slightly different posing. He's posing a bit more tilted up in 2025, which I think is a good move. He's very short and squats down a lot. I prefer when he stands straight up. He needs to stick out, and because he's so thickly developed, he's not going to lose any thickness by doing this. So that is technically a change. But yet again, I think the condition might have been better in 2023. I think the giveaway for me is the delt and arm tie-in. It looks a little bit more smooth in Detroit. But in terms of the lower body, he did manage in this 1.5 years away from the stage to get a single glute striation. So that is technically an improvement. Good job. Now, we have to talk about the back poses. This started out as Carlos's weakest shot, the rear double, but we will take a look at both back poses. Now, in 2023, you can obviously tell this is just a blank canvas. This is an amateur level back, probably even worse than that, at least at the top amateur level. Anything would have been an improvement, and credit to where it's due, he did slightly improve this pose, but again, 1.5 years away from the stage, ladies and gentlemen. Or I don't really know about ladies. I don't really want women watching my videos anyway. But for 1.5 years, this is pretty bad. He is thicker now in the back, the lats, the upper back, really all of it. He doesn't have the most favorable insertions, but he's also a little bit soggier at the same time, I feel. I've said that 2023 was in the better condition and the two poses we looked at before. I think he's actually slightly more waterlogged in 2025, and his posing, he's pinching his shoulder blades more in 2025, I noticed. So these things are going to help make his back look thicker. If there's more water there, you're going to look thicker. And then if he's posing better to make himself look more thick, yeah, it's working. Is there legitimate improvement there? Sure, I guess so, but for 1.5 years, this is just abysmal. And really put this into perspective, if you have a 15-year-long pro career, 15 years active in the pro circuit, which is quite a long career, honestly, especially nowadays. 1.5 years is 10% of your entire career. So think about it. He took 10% of his career away from the stage, and this is all he has to show for it in his weakest pose. I know a good, well-rounded back is going to take the longest to build out of anything besides legs, and he already has legs, so this is going to be the longest in terms of development he's going to need for building a proper back. But he's got to start moving on this now, because in 1.5 years, he's done nothing but spin his wheels. Then we have the second back pose. This was always the stronger of the two for him, and yeah, we can see that he got a bit thicker, a bit wider, but really, what else is there to say? Not only does he need a lot more thickness, but this condition needs massive improvement for him to even make a dent in these poses against his peers. Now we're going to another one of his poorer shots, and I'm not doing this to rag on him. I always look at poorer shots in these videos just so I can give these guys a chance to show their improvements in their weakest points. I think if you really want to judge someone's progress, you look at their weaker shots. Carlos' side chest and front double are always going to be great, but here in the abs and thighs, genetically he doesn't have the best abs. Great quads, but really I don't think you notice too much difference there, but I think that's a good thing. He doesn't really need any more size in the quads. Could they be a little more detailed? Yes, of course, but they don't need improved size-wise at all. But in the abs, it appears that he's gotten worse. I think this is probably just posing, but I mean, he didn't really have any room to spare here. So overall, this pose seems to have gone from below average to just kind of poor. But let's go to the final pose. I told you this would be a quick video, and the abs, let's start there, do seem to be a bit thicker now. So I do think it was the posing in the abs and thighs pose. I think the abs themselves have gotten slightly sharper. So that last pose was probably a fluke. But other than that, if you somehow took these two photos and removed the background, filtered them, or maybe just made them black and white so I couldn't tell where they were from, I really don't think I would be able to tell where they were from. I don't think I would be able to tell the difference between 2023 and 2025 at all. And yet again, if we really want to nitpick and split hairs, I think I prefer 2023 just for a little more detail in the delts, maybe a little more a better arm and delt tie-in, maybe slightly drier legs. I mean, this is already a good shot for him, but this was a chance to make a great shot even better. And honestly, if again, we're splitting hairs, I think it got a little worse if anything. So yeah, it's still a crazy most muscular, but it's basically just 2023. Well, that was disappointing. Let's just call it like it is though. Carlos had 1.5 years away from the stage and little to show for it. What even changed? A little back thickness got added, I guess, but that's really the only meaningful difference he made. At least it wasn't his weakest body part. But even there, I think we all expected more. But that's kind of the thing, isn't it? Expectations. Everyone was expecting him to do extremely well. Kinson from EP09 Bodybuilding was telling me that he was going to compare well to Derek. How foolish and blind can one possibly be? I saw this outcome coming from a mile away. Yet, he didn't listen. Kinson and even Carlos himself, along with fans of course, just rode that hype train to nowhere. And I'm going to say it, I told you so. So personally, I'm not super surprised that he didn't make a big splash this year. I gotta say though, even I expected him to look a little bit better than he actually ended up looking this year. But since this is the end of my saga with Carlos, at least for now, let me end by defending him. I have nothing against him at all. All I've been saying is that we should probably pump the brakes on hyping a guy that had only done one pro show up until that point. We all know how much a derailed hype train can ruin the perception of the fans and the judges. And it turns out I was right, he's not ready. Yet. The fact that he has the size that he does is crazy. He has great proportions too, leading to some spectacular shots. Now the condition isn't iffy thing to speculate with Carlos because he does have UC, and pushing his body may not be something he wants to do, nor should do, quite frankly. But it's obvious that he does have a future in the sport, and no, because he had one bad season, his second season in the pro league, that doesn't automatically make him a case of wasted potential. The potential isn't even realized yet, so Sean Ray saying he should retire is a little much. I would hate to see Carlos or anyone else in his position do that. If you have come this far like Carlos and built that physique, you would be doing the world a disservice. We all want to see you achieve excellence. But of course you would also be doing yourself a disservice by not realizing even half of your potential, which I believe Carlos has not yet. If you've come this far, you deserve to see it through. So I want to see Carlos really buckle down, grow that back, and come back in with better condition. But when he does come back to compete, let's not overhype him. Let's let the physique do the talking when he actually steps on stage. Well, that's going to do it for today's video. Like I said, this ends the Carlos hate saga, if you want to call it that, at least for now. Do I actually hate Carlos? No, he's a nice guy. Do I hate when guys hype someone up for no reason, hurting the athlete's career? Yeah, but that does it on Carlos's chapter on this channel for now. Very bittersweet. I've really enjoyed being correct. But anyway, if you guys like this video and want to see more, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more. And if you want to get your hands on some high quality supplements and support my channel even further, head over to Arms Race Nutrition. Then at checkout, use my code Project10 for 10% off your entire order. That's code Project10 at armsracenutrition.com. And finally, with all that said, I want to thank you guys for watching, and I will see you all in the next video.
Gotta get that Lexia.